I, 21 male, was the second of 5 kids and the only one born without any disability. All of my siblings require lifelong care. None of them can be independent, and some have more physical sicknesses than others. Growing up, my parents prioritized my siblings and never put any time or attention into me. I was expected to be okay with missing out on everything, and my parents' excuse for my lack of opportunity was that they had no money or would straight up say I didn't need to have those things in my life. I have some really great friends with whom I was close back then. Some of their parents would offer to pay for me to attend field trips, go to an amusement park, or for a weekend vacation, and my parents refused every single time. They told me I was not allowed to accept the help from others. Once, I told my parents that I was going to say yes no matter what they did, and they yelled at me and told me I was their kid and they could stop me from going if they wanted to. I think that was when my best friend's family wanted me to join them Christmas shopping in another city, and my parents were not okay with that. I resent my parents for that. I will admit to that. I feel like they denied me those chances because they couldn't have them, and they felt if nobody else in the family was getting those experiences, then they weren't going to let me have them either. I also wasn't allowed to work because I was needed at home, which meant helping out with my siblings or household chores. A home nurse called in occasionally to help, and she was only allowed to help my mom or dad. If she tried to help me, my parents would pull her away. When I finally turned 18, things were still recovering from global issue and stuff, so I moved out and worked retail for a while until I got a job where they were willing to train me and help me climb the ladder through training and working. That has been a huge life changer for me, and I'm finally starting to make better money. I started to spoil myself some. I bought a PS5 for my 21st birthday. I went on a couple of cheaper vacations with my friends. I'm making up for lost challenges I could never understand. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You have a right to your own life and to spend your money as you prefer. I'm all for helping each other in a family, but that does not extend to you having to give up parts of your life for them. It's your parents' fault if they have more kids than they can care for and support. Why did they even get so many kids when they already have ones that need intense care? My sympathy for them is limited. Why did they keep having more kids? You'd think after 3 they'd have wised up. How much you can and want to help your siblings should come from you, not be enforced by them. Go no contact with your parents. The next thing they'll want is for you to become the lifetime carer for your siblings. I can guarantee they'll have it set up for them to come to your care. I would talk to a lawyer and ask them how to prevent this from happening. I would also speak to a lawyer and ask them to write a letter to your parents that you will not contribute financially or physically to their care or your siblings' care, and to stop contacting you about it. OP, please live your own life. Someday you may want to get married and maybe have children of your own, or not, but you have your own future to look out for. They neglected you and ruined your childhood. You shouldn't feel guilty for wanting to have your own life. They made their choices, and it's their responsibility to live with them. I, female 18, have 2 brothers, 26 and 28, and they're both married. Well, I still live with my parents. I had a big announcement to make for my family. My boyfriend, 23, and I have gotten engaged, and I'll move out to live with him because I'm pregnant. The thing is that I wanted to tell my whole family the news all at once, so last Saturday, I told my mother that I was going to make dinner. I invited my 2 brothers but asked them to come alone, without their wives or my oldest brother's children. My oldest brother was quite annoyed and asked me why his wife and children couldn't come. I told him that I wanted to have a family dinner with just us, parents and siblings. Well, I cooked dinner last Friday, they came and I finally made the announcement. I was surprised by how unsupportive my family was. By the way, at some point, my brother asked me again why this had to be with just us. Why couldn't his family come? My other brother agreed it wasn't something worth being so secretive about. I told them I wanted to have dinner with my family, but their wives weren't. They got very upset over that, telling me that I was insensitive because their wives are their family and I should also consider them that. My oldest brother got even more upset because he said I don't consider his children my family. It all went down and my brothers and I had an argument. My parents tried to calm them down, but my oldest brother accused them of spoiling me. I was feeling very stressed, so I left. I texted my boyfriend so he would pick me up. The next day, my oldest brother's wife called to yell at me too because I'm supposedly not including her in family events. I told my family that and they got very angry with my brother. I don't think I did anything bad, to be honest. My brothers misinterpreted my words to try to make me seem bad, but I just wanted dinner with my family. Am I wrong? You are the idiot. Do you expect your parents and brother to treat your child and partner like family? If your nieces, nephews and sisters-in-law aren't family, why would your child be? You've seriously damaged your family relationships. You need to re-examine why you feel this way and find out how to fix this before your child is born and ostracized. Start by apologizing to everyone and explain how wrong you were. My thought exactly. OP is going the right way to cut out her family and be left with nobody when the boyfriend leaves because she can't cope with the kid. I predict lots of complaining from OP about how nobody is helping her out with taking care of her baby. It's tragic that someone this clueless is having a baby. I swear it's the people who shouldn't be having kids. We're doomed. The irony is that you understand that your impending marriage is an important thing while essentially saying your brother's wives are not family. So their marriages are not as important, and really you're surprised they were unsupportive of an 18-year-old getting pregnant and married? What the heck, OP? The in-laws and nibblings are your family too. You are obviously too young to get married and you're having a baby. Jeez. She's surprised her parents and brothers weren't supportive of her at 18, announcing both her pregnancy and engagement. She's also confused about why her parents and brothers are upset that she considers neither her sisters-in-law nor her nieces and nephews family. I wonder if she'll consider her parents her child's family, or her child's father her parents' family. Whose family? Obviously not even blood is family, as her nibblings are not her family. This girl's life is going to be marvellous. I demand annual updates. I could be overreacting here, and depending on the opinions, I will apologise if needed. I gave birth to my husband and my first and last baby a few months ago. We're both 30. My mother-in-law is 56. Since I gave birth, I've grown to hate this woman because of her unwanted opinions on parenting my daughter. Like coming here and telling me I can't pick my daughter up when she's crying because the baby is apparently just playing me and I'm going to regret it, when my daughter becomes a Velcro kid who won't leave me alone. She said that when my daughter was a week old, she got angry at me for ignoring her and picking up my daughter anyway, and left after shaking her head. She started bringing clothes here for my daughter that were very obviously boys. Dark blue plus dark red outfits that said stuff like "Daddy's little dude" or had trucks all over them. When I commented on this, I was given a snarky, "She doesn't know what she's wearing, so I don't see why you care. Seems like a weird thing to be bothered by. It's free clothes, you should be thankful." But the thing is, she knowingly went out and bought this crap. It's not like it was hand-me-downs or something, which would have been more acceptable in my eyes. She started saying my baby looks nothing like me, and just like her dad. I have red hair and blue eyes. My daughter has strawberry blonde and blue eyes. My husband has black hair and brown eyes. If the baby starts fussing because she's hungry, breastfed, she'll take the baby and pass it to my husband saying, "She just needs daddy." She then proceeded to act put off by the fact that my husband almost immediately passed her to me so I could nurse her. She says I should start pumping so daddy can bond. Our daughter loves her dad regardless of him not being able to feed her. She rolls her eyes and calls me a helicopter mom because I still wash my hands before holding my baby, and I honestly hate the woman now. It's all so passive-aggressive that I don't want to be near her. My husband knows. Our communication is excellent. But while he knows and understands my frustration, that's still his mom and she's not technically hurting anything. She's just annoying me. He's told her to tone it down though and back off. But yesterday I honestly just had enough. I was given a card with $50 in it for Christmas from my husband's grandmother. She lives out of the country, and this is what she gives everyone for birthdays and holidays. My husband bought our daughter some playseat using the money I got. My mother-in-law insisted on going with him to get it. She's had it for about a week now. Well, mother-in-law came here yesterday and said, "How does the baby like the seat that her daddy bought her?" I knew it didn't really matter, but I was irritated and said, "I bought it for her. It was my money." Well, she goes, "You're not working, so it's daddy's money actually, and he went to get it for her, so..." And I don't know. I just immediately told her to get the heck out and not come back until she learned some respect and stop being a dumb witch for no reason. I did push it too far, I recognise that, and I did apologise for the name calling, but I don't want her here and I'm sticking to that. My husband is irritated with me, however, because he's angrier that I kicked her out because, in his eyes, she was acting like a witch and did deserve what I said, but didn't deserve to be kicked out and banned from the house. That's still his mom and she's not technically hurting anything, she's just making me angry. This line says it all. How will he let his mom aggravate his wife for so long? Not the idiot. He should be upset at her and himself for not setting boundaries and enforcing them with her, which is what led to this point. She is harming their marriage. He's also not standing up for her. I wish I could go back and tell my mother-in-law to shut the heck up and get the heck out when I had my first. Mine stepped on my ingrown toenail a few days post C-section while I was holding a baby. That would have been the time I should have said it. OP, stop apologizing. You stood up for yourself because your husband won't. He should learn from you. Don't ever back down and stop apologizing to her. I'm willing to bet money you'd never receive one from her. So, bad news and worse news. You married a big-time mama's boy, and your mother-in-law is a massive idiot. Your husband holds the power here to have your back and enforce boundaries, but is making a conscious choice to enable his mom's bad behavior because she's his mommy. You need to sit down with your husband and have a serious talk about his mom's bad behavior and the boundaries surrounding your child. If your mother-in-law wants access to her grandchild, she will respect all parental boundaries, because for every boundary broken, she will lose access to her grandchild. Period. Get a lock for your bedroom door. When Granny oversteps, pick up the baby and retreat to the locked bedroom, announcing it's time for Granny's time out. I suggest insisting on a few sessions with a marriage counsellor sooner rather than later. He doesn't get to hide his head in the sand and then act innocent and surprised when something goes down. I, 26 female, live in a very small town with my dad, 55, who's disabled. He can get around on his own, it's just more convenient for us since I can run most of the errands. Anyway, Dad has 2 cars, one has a manual shift and the other is automatic. Due to his mobility issues, Dad can't drive the manual, so it's usually me who's driving it. Also, my workplace is 2 hours away from where I live, so it's not a massive deal for me. I also have a co-worker, 40 female, who relies on me for the rides even though it's a 20-minute drive from her home to the workplace. So I pick her up and drop her off. She doesn't have a car and public transportation is crappy in our area, and I also don't charge her for rides since I pass her street on my way either way. She just checks the location app and goes out whenever she sees I'm approaching her place, or sometimes I park in her driveway. Recently, the manual car wasn't starting, so I had to take the auto car. It's a really large SUV and I'm uncomfortable driving it. I've been driving the manual car since high school and it's a super tiny coupe, so I'm used to smaller cars. It was my first time ever driving another car. Also, the manual car is an import and it's an RHD, so my perception is slightly off when I drive a normal car. So she asked me to go in her driveway, and since I was driving the larger car, I messed up and accidentally hit the lawn with 2 of the wheels because I'm used to sitting on another side and because the auto car is wider than the manual one. Her driveway is super narrow, and as I said, I'm not familiar with driving huge cars, so it was a mess up on my end. Anyway, she was angry when she saw the tyre tracks on her lawn. She yelled at me, saying that if I couldn't go in the driveway without hitting the lawn, I should get my license revoked. I explained that I couldn't take my car because it broke. She said that in that case, I had to ask my dad to drive me to work. I got angry because it was an unreasonable demand. First of all, my dad is disabled. Second, he wouldn't be super thrilled about spending 4 hours behind the wheel just to take me to work and back. So the next day I texted her that I wouldn't give her rides anymore. I still drive the auto car because a part broke in the manual car and needs to be delivered from overseas, so it takes time. I won't deny that maybe it was an overreaction on my part, but I feel hurt by her comment, and also I don't want to go in her driveway again, hit the lawn and get yelled at again. I'm not losing anything if I refuse to give her rides, and I feel like she should have been more grateful. Anyway, she was angry and called me a witch. Our other co-worker says I'm an idiot because the co-worker really needs the rides. Now I wonder whether I was really an idiot. The co-worker has a wild temper, so she probably didn't mean what she said, but it was still hurtful anyway. No, not the idiot. I hate when people say other people have a bad temper and they don't mean it. You're an adult, control yourself. I think it's okay to be mad about the marks on the lawn, but instead of yelling and insulting you, she could have said that she would come out of her driveway the next time. You're doing her a huge favor and she's being ungrateful. If your colleague is concerned about that, he should pick her up. There is a saying in my part of the world that I'm not sure has percolated into yours. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. People have been excusing her bad temper for years and she's been living off that. It's time she learned that actions have consequences. Yeah, she's 40. If she doesn't know how to control her temper at that age, maybe she's just an idiot. You are not responsible for a freeloader to get to work. Don't give her any more rides. Don't pay heed to the people who are complaining about it. And if anyone complains to you about it, tell them to give her a ride. Problem solved. She just showed you why no one else will pick her up. Toxic behavior. And do not allow her to manipulate you ever again. Lesson learned, kiddo.